I'm Richard, your host. I'm from the UK, where we've got our own phase out, but that's fortunately being met by new nuclear power plants. Today, you're going to hear about phase outs in other countries. So, if you could all just introduce yourselves, where you're from, and give a bit of background about the nuclear phase out in your country.
Hi, Florian from Germany. We have shut down reactors that are actually younger than me, which is partly my fault, which is partly the German government's fault. It's really sad. Germany is kind of the pariah in the nuclear world. We can still set a bad example, I guess, how not to do it. But, well, Andreas also has to say something. We're both from Germany, so I'll hand it on.
Great, thank you. And if throughout the panel anyone has any questions, do put your hand up. Oh, we've got a question straight up already.
Thank you for sharing your stories. And it's also very interesting to see from different geographical areas how you have the same problem, the phase out of the nuclear capacity. And here my question is, how did you compensate, especially in Germany, the closed, phased out nuclear power plants? You still have the electricity demand, right? Especially the winter, now it is cold in Germany. Also the same in Belgium, same in Spain. How do you compensate that?
So Germany has kind of a split personality, right? We consider ourselves climate leaders and we build solar and wind like almost no other country, especially capacity-wise. And we actually managed to drive down the costs of solar so much because we were there early and we subsidized a lot. But on the other hand, we shut down the nuclear plants. And actually, if you look at the amount of electricity produced, clean electricity, it has been almost flat. Like the nuclear power plants supplied 30% of the energy at one point, and they got shut down while solar and wind came up. And in the end, it's almost flat for 22 years. That's for the actual amount of electricity, but also the reliability. So, of course, Germans have a word up for everything. You've probably heard the word Dunkelflaute. It's literally translated to doldrums, like when the wind doesn't blow, the sun doesn't shine. And this situation can happen in Germany for weeks. And of course, you need reliable power for this time when the solar is at like 1% or 0% capacity at night, of course, and wind is like at 1% capacity, like a dual system. You need the second set of infrastructure. You need coal power plants, you need gas power plants. So actually, Germany has brought back coal power plants due to the energy crisis. But this has also been like a foreseeable problem because if you shut down the nuclear plants, well, all you're left as reliable power is gas and coal. That's the same in every country.
Great, and we're here to talk about fighting those nuclear phase outs. I want to hear about sort of the advocacy that you're doing in your country and that others are doing to help stop these phase outs.
The power plants that have been shut down this year and last year or the end of the year before, they can still be rescued. At least 5 of them can still be flipped the switch almost like that. It's not as easy, of course. It takes about 2 years. It would bring them back online as they were. They could still run for decades. They were like 35 or they are 35. They need new fuel. They need to have people to work in. But the thing is, with the current government, that won't be happening. The Green Party is too strong. And the next elections are in 2025. So that's a reason to lose hope a little in Germany for German nuclear. Well, the pessimistic side of this is that we are like a very small NGO group. There's Replanet, there's Nuclearia, and that's it. And like Fridays for Future, Greenpeace, the Friends of the Earth Germany, the big groups, they are against nuclear. Yeah, but we have to fight them too.
All forms of energy do some ecological damage. So electric cars, we're going to need lots of mining of lithium, infrastructure. Windmills, there's been criticism about them being put out at sea and the harm it's doing there. So where does nuclear fall in this, looking at this perspective?
Well, there have been a couple of life cycle analysis like reports about the ecological damages of different energy sources and how they compare over the total lifetime of a plant, from the mining to the building to just producing the power, till the plant is shut down, till the plant is deconstructed, everything is cleared away and there's like a green grass left. And these tell us that nuclear is actually the most ecological form of power, like the one with the least footprint, which is the reason for that is mostly the huge amounts of energy, the energy density of nuclear. You have a lot of energy in a very small place. So you don't need as many resources, materials.
If I understand correctly, nuclear is the only high density source of energy which doesn't produce lots of CO2. All the other ones that are supposedly low carbon are low density. They get it from the air, get it from the sun, get it from the sea, and it's all expensive, it's highly distributed, it's loads of wire. So if you're talking about high density energy, like power stations, nuclear is the only game in town. The only alternative to that, which is carbon free, is your windmills.
About the water use, actually, this city is surrounded by desert, and still this country has built a new nuclear power plant with 4 reactors, 3 are operational already in the desert. Of course, it's close to the sea, so that's enough. If you're close to the sea, water use is not an issue.
I think the 3 standout countries I know about are Japan, South Korea, and Sweden. All those 3, they had lots of nuclear. They politically decided to reduce their nuclear, and now they've changed their minds again and want nuclear again. And Sweden's decided to increase their nuclear capacity by something like 4 times. And Japan wants to restart their old reactors, and South Korea is back to building reactors. Can we go through all of you guys and hear what the some messages of hope you hear from those countries and how you think that applies where you live?
Yeah, all the good news from other countries are perceived in Germany. They are covered. Like, for example, this COP, the announcement of tripling nuclear until 2050, the signatories, like 20-something countries. This is in the news, and people are starting to sink in that maybe we are not the smart ones here. So that's maybe a good thing.
Just following up on your comment and your colleague, I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on how much bandwidth there is out there for the nuclear debate, because these arguments have gone round and round for decades and decades. We all know about how illogical the anti-nuclear position is, how much radioactivity there is in bananas or Brazil nuts, how sitting on an aeroplane gives you way more radioactivity than going in a nuclear power plant, or how you spectacle of nuclear workers dressed up in protective suits decontaminating waste where the concentration of radioactivity in the bodies of the workers is higher than in the waste that they're decontaminating. These things are all out there. The argument has no logic, but is anyone interested? I mean, is there still a debate out there? I mean, of course, things like that energy price instability might reanimate the argument. Might people think, yes, we really have to get energy right. Bad things happen if we get it wrong. So maybe, what are your thoughts on that? Is there a debate still there?
Well, I actually have to, the crisis thing is very true. Like, don't let a good crisis go to waste. Yeah. The energy crisis has changed the discussion 180 degrees, at least in Germany, because of rising power prices. People weren't so concerned about climate change because it's not immediate. It's like a faraway problem that some people even believe might not happen. But the energy prices, they hurt you now. And rising gas prices, rising electricity prices, that kind of thing, that made people rethink the Energiewende, the German energy transition. Is it really working? Is it really getting us to the place we want to be? Or is it just going to increase our electricity prices forever until we can no longer afford heavy industry, even our own heating in the house?
We're running to the end of our session. The session was on fighting nuclear phase-outs in the name of climate change. I want to quickly get some closing remarks. If there's any questions in the crowd, you can ask them later once we're done with this session. So 5 words, when you think your nuclear phase-out will be ended, and sort of how positive you are about the future.
Despite the renaissance in nuclear, Germany looks a little bleak right now, but you can only fight the laws of physics and rationality of it for so long.
Good.